Okay. I think it's working. OBS virtual camera, yep. If I go camera, yeah, good. Microphone is working, and this one. And then I have to share my OBS screen. Oh, this is what I have to do to get rid of these. 1 second. Okay. Now I just have to move all of these things around. Ay, there's too many buttons. Right. Let's see if it's working. Where should I put this window? Okay. So this... Okay, it's fine. Sorry, I am just setting up the stream. There are too many windows. So this microphone goes here. And then, hey Jas, sorry, I'm just I'm testing a few things out at the moment. I'm playing around with different like scenes and buttons, and microphone is working. Can you see me on this camera? I have 2 cameras set up, so it looks a bit more professional. Hi Milky, how's it going? Uh-oh. Ah. Oh, this is what I have to do. Okay. So, it's so confusing right now. So, don't worry, just give me a few minutes to prepare a few things. So, if I have this, you can see me on the main screen, that screen, here. And then, if I want to have notes, I have to press this button. Oh no, where's the button gone? 1 sec, it's this one. So then, if I type notes here, best of both worlds, you can see me. Hi guys, hi from YouTube, how's it going? I'm just testing some things, so please give me a few minutes, like 1 or 2 minutes. I wanted to find a way of like, you know when I'm teaching you guys and sometimes I say a bunch of words? The problem is I have YouTube and Hello Talk, but if I type every word on both, it takes too long, right? So if I share my Word document here, I can show it on my screen. You can see it, right? If you can't see anything, then I'm in big trouble. But I hope you can see my notes on the screen. Hopefully this is going well. Everything's good? Thank you, thank you. So, today we're gonna do a little bit of free talk, a bit of, what was it, just getting some questions from you guys, because I know usually when I do my lessons it's just like, hey, here's my information, here's some English, just study it, or something like that. But I want to give you guys a chance to ask me questions, and I want to talk to you guys more. So today it's a bit more relaxed and casual, okay? But Windows here, over here. I wish you guys could see my screen. Actually, I'll show you right now. Look at this. Like, there's so many different windows. Like, I got things here, I've got the Hello Talk stream here, and then I've got the YouTube stream here, and then I got my lesson notes up here. Oh my gosh. My brain. I do like playing around with like computers and stuff like that and making things look nice. But this is too much. There must be a more efficient way of doing this. Yeah, it's too tiny. It's too tiny. Ah, I see the notes are too tiny. That's a problem. Well, in that case, I'll have to check. But let me refresh that. But yeah, anyway, how are you guys doing? You know, sorry, I'm looking at that camera. It's this camera now. How is everything going? Did you have a nice, relaxing Sunday? What did you guys do? I just woke up about 3 hours ago, which is actually a while ago. But I normally wake up at around 6 a.m. So, yeah, I want to be productive on the weekends. But sometimes you just gotta relax, right? It's the weekend. Just take it easy. Some people just try to do too much work. Definitely not me. I'm lazy. But what did you guys do this weekend? Anything special? So today I'm going to study physics and math. Interesting. Really? You feel knots. You feel really relaxed when you're studying? Wow. I guess I know what you mean, because when I go to in Japan, I love going to cafes and just studying Japanese, because there are a lot of people who like to study at cafes in Japan, unlike the UK, where everybody is just kind of, well, chatting and kind of working on their PC, which is also good, right? But I don't know. I feel like people in Japan are a bit more focused, and you see a lot of students as well, which is quite cool. But anyway. You were learning passive sentences today, Milky. Oh, very nice, yeah? So, passive, like what was it? The robber was arrested by the police, right? That kind of passive sentence. Those are super useful sentences. We use them all the time, right? But, oh, Jaskaran, you're also working on Sunday. Oh, you guys are too hardworking. You make me feel like I should study more. Because recently, I have not studied Japanese at all. I'm very bad. Oh my gosh. That's why I'm not improving. But at least I'm focusing on the English live streams recently. So that's why I'm streaming today. But you have one real problem. You're so lazy. Don't worry, Knots. I'm exactly the same. But yeah, there you go. So what was it? Yeah, if you guys have any questions about English, about study, or anything today, just let me know, and we'll go through them. I'm looking at that camera again, sorry. We'll go through those questions, but I've also prepared some interesting topics to talk about, and hopefully that means that, we can learn some new vocabulary as well, okay? So I'm going to close this window, and then let's get the magic wheel so that we can discuss some interesting things. So let me bring up it is this one, and then I'm going to share my screen and press this button. Okay, we used this yesterday, but these are more general English questions. We're going to talk about many different topics today, and just take it easy, okay? And of course, please do share some of your comments and ideas for these questions, yeah? Because, of course, I think you guys have some really interesting opinions as well. So, why don't we just jump into it? So, first question. What is the most important thing for cross-cultural communication? That's a good question. Oh, wrong camera. Here we go. So, what do you guys think? When we talk to people from other countries, sometimes there's a language barrier, but there's also a cultural barrier, right? Even if we understand the same words, even if we understand the language, sometimes we just don't understand because there's a cultural barrier, right? So what's the most important thing for cross-cultural communication? What do you guys think? Let me just quickly get this live chat. Sorry. Because I think there are a lot of things that you need to, think about when it comes to cross-cultural communication. But hi Eddie, how's it going? Smile, respect, interesting. Jess and Milky, some really good ideas. I think respect is cross-cultural, right? You should always show respect, especially when you're in a foreign country, right? Yeah, nobody will be angry at you if you're trying to speak the local language, even if it's just a few words, right? And smiling, definitely, Milky, yeah. Smiling is actually quite difficult for a lot of people, especially when you're tired and exhausted. You just have your normal resting face, which when we're at home and no one's watching, we might just be like. But to smile, it actually uses a lot of muscles in your face. And for me, it took me a long time to learn how to smile, like, without thinking about it too much. So yeah, learning how to smile effortlessly and kind of turning on that automatic switch is very important for business, for first impressions, and many different things. But yeah, good points. Well done. So yeah, let me just quickly read the comments. And I think everyone must understand that every nation and every person can see the world in different ways. A very good point, Knots. Yeah, like, you have to remember that common knowledge or what you think is normal may not always be normal for other people as well, right? Like, can I think of a common... like, for example, we talked about this yesterday, but like when you greet somebody giving a handshake, that's not normal in every country. In Japan, you bow. I don't know about Southeast Asia. In India, do you handshake? Do you hug? In France, they kiss on the cheek, right? It's completely different. But yeah, depending on the country, respecting and understanding those differences is essential, right? Let me quickly write that word down. I hear a lot of people... Oh, here we go. This is where I have to press the button. 1 second. It's this button here. So, I hope you can see my notes. Let me check my screen. Here we go. Yes. So, one common word that a lot of people use, or use too much if you're thinking about IELTS or exam English, is important. Yeah. Now, this isn't wrong, but a way to level up your vocabulary might be essential, or you could say critical. Yeah, these are two easy words. They're exactly the same meaning. It's just a bit stronger, a bit more high level. So yeah, so that's green, green, red. Yeah, it's not wrong, but it's a, what was it? A very basic word. Yeah, so essential or critical. But yeah, all right. Eddie, try to understand differences. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We have to understand the differences so that we don't do anything rude or, say anything bad or step on anyone's toes. Yeah. Step on someone's toes meaning to be rude, right? Step on someone's toes, be rude, in other words. Okay? I'm going to put that in blue. It's a bit of an idiom. Yeah. All right. Anyway, thank you very much. Let me have a quick look. Were there any other questions? I think Knots asked a question. What was it? How to study British pronunciation. There's no easy way to do this. A lot of shadowing and, copying actors, just copying simple phrases and sentences from dramas or movies. But make sure that how do I say it? The thing you're copying is natural language, right? If sometimes movies and things like that can be a bit, how do I say it? They can be a bit unrealistic or over-exaggerated, so it's best to try and copy, like, I don't know, natural speech. People speaking in a casual situation, like this, right? But good question, yeah. Pronunciation's difficult. It takes a long time. But yeah. All right, so why don't we have a look at another question? Let's have a look. Change screen. Okay. Which is better for English study, movies or books? What do you guys think? Do you think movies or books are better for study? Personally, I would say choose the one you prefer, but if you like both, I think books are better. However, they are more difficult. I'll talk about that in a moment, but Milky says you prefer movies. Interesting. And why is that? Samyukta says hard copy books, so movies, books, very good. And Not says it depends on the thing you want to do. Interesting. Yeah. So, as with everything, I would say there are different methods to reach the same goal, but pick the one that you're going to continue with the longest, because movies and books are both pretty good, but there are pros and cons to both, yeah? Milky, you want to like reading books? Yeah, it is really difficult. If I just quickly share a personal story, I'm actually not a fan of books. I think in my life, I've probably finished only 4 or 5 English books, like from start to finish, right? I mean, if we include picture books and children's books, okay, maybe a bit more. But as an adult, I haven't finished many English books, just because I'm not a fan of reading. However, I do like reading Japanese books, but I don't like novels, right? Long novels with just words. I get distracted very easily and I lose focus very quickly, right? So what I do is I choose books that have short chapters. And they don't have to be storybooks. It can be something about like science, it can be an educational book, or it can be an anthology. Okay, let me quickly write that down. An anthology, because an anthology is a book with lots of short stories. Anthology, a collection of short stories. And the key part here is short. When you're reading something in another language, it's so easy to just lose focus because it's a lot of work, yeah? Choosing the right level of book is also essential, yeah? Because if you choose something too difficult, you're looking up words in the dictionary every, 5 seconds, and you can't enjoy the story. But if it's too easy, then you're not gonna learn any new vocabulary, right? So choosing the right level and finding something relatively short is very important. For example, let me find, I have something here, 1 second. Right. Okay, so I have here this book which is about science, right? It says Kagaku no Hanashi. And I like science, I like learning new things, but I don't want to read a huge book about one topic, right? So the nice thing about this series is, one, it's for 4th grade elementary school students. Now it's easy for me, like I know most of the vocabulary, but when I was learning, I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago, this was super useful. And because each chapter is only like 2 or 3 pages, when I finish one chapter, I think, oh, okay, I learned something new and I finished a chapter, right? Because no one wants to stop in the middle of a chapter. It feels incomplete and it feels like we haven't really studied, right? So this one, it says here, you can see this cute picture of a cat here, and then there's a lizard here. It says, why do lizards cut off their tails? And you can see here this cute lizard with a ribbon, yeah? It's not the most useful information, it's just interesting to me, right? But there are going to be a lot of basic vocabulary in these kinds of books that will appear in other topics, okay? So yeah, choose something short and easy, not too easy, and you won't get too tired and you can continue studying for longer. But interesting and not too difficult is the most important thing. But yeah, anyway, so I'm trying to read daily news every day. I like it. That's good, yeah. If you enjoy reading the news, then go for it, yeah. I would say try to use different sources, sometimes books, sometimes dramas, and sometimes news, because they all have different types of language, right? But very good. And just looking, knots. It doesn't matter that you need to use only one thing, you need to use all, exactly, yeah. It's best to use a wide range of things. It's not just reading or speaking, it's a combined thing for communicating. Very true, knots. Very good. Yeah. All right, good stuff. Well done. So, what was it? Was there, yes, an anthology, a collection of short stories. For example, if I quickly show you, anthology is collection of short stories. Does it show it here? No, there's no easy way of finding it. But yeah, usually there's a set theme. For example, this one is probably about children's stories at Christmas. Yeah, Santa Claus, reindeers, and other things. But they're pretty good, yeah. But anyway, let's have a look at the next question. Why is YouTube always so slow? How often and how much should you study? So I've got a lot of different topics, but it's all about study so far. Anyway, going back to here. So how much and how often should you study? What do you guys think? Before I share my opinion, how often do you guys think you should study? I see Milky says every day. Interesting. I think yes, definitely. If you can, every day is best. Yeah. If you can't, let's say for example you're feeling tired or you just really don't have a lot of time, then I would say regular study is better than just, studying 5 hours in one day. In other words, studying 1 hour for 5 days in a row is better than studying 5 hours in one day. Okay? Because when I studied psychology in university, they found that memory is very mysterious and complex, but one thing we know is that, especially with language and vocabulary flashcards, memory has a limit in one day. In other words, if you study something, here's a great example. Many people do their homework, like let's say English homework, very quickly after a lesson. So let's say yesterday we studied movies and dramas. If I give you homework, like fill in the gap, what is a sequel, which movie is the prequel, and these kinds of questions, if you do the homework just after the live stream, everything's fresh in your mind, super easy, right? But actually, it's better to delay the homework a few kind of days later, because it's more difficult to remember, and how do I say it? It's actually sometimes good to not completely forget, but forgetting a word and looking it up again or trying to remember it is actually better for your memory in the long term. Yeah, that is review. But if you just try and do the homework when the information is still fresh, there's no effect because you already know it right now, okay? So that would be my recommendation. It's okay to wait a few days and it's okay to forget because in the long term, it will improve your memory, okay? That's what they found in psychology studies when I was studying at university. But anyway, yeah. So based on everyone's perception and free time. Interesting. What do you mean everyone's perception? Let me quickly look at YouTube. Where is it? So even if school doesn't work, it teaches you how to study. Ah, very true. But yeah, regular study is better than a lot of study in one day. Okay? All right, so let's move on to the next question. Hopefully we'll get something a bit different. Oh my gosh, that suddenly got into a very deep, complex question. You know, I chose a lot of random topics from different, I chose a lot of different topics, yeah. Crime, ethics, movies, and so on. So some of these might be quite deep and difficult, but yeah, hopefully we can learn some new vocabulary. But do you think teens or teenagers who commit crimes should be punished the same as adults? Oof. That's a difficult question. What do you guys think? My gut feeling, yeah, this is my first answer. I'm not thinking too deeply. I'll quickly write this down. Gut feeling. This is a nice word. Gut feeling. Your kind of first thought, not thinking deeply. Okay? So, gut feeling is a word I use a lot. My gut feeling tells me that we shouldn't, or rather, we should be more patient and try to think about their situation first, right? For example, adults, well, they're adults. I don't want to say they should know, because, for example, if it's a normal adult, they had a normal family and a normal job, then yes, they should know what is okay and what is not okay. But for people, I don't know, who have mental problems, maybe because they suffered abuse as a child and they had a very difficult family environment, I don't think it's fair to judge them in the same way because they grew up in a different situation. But for children, they've had less time to grow up and experience things, right? So, but again, it depends on the situation. So yes, I feel like they shouldn't always be punished in the same way, but we need to be more patient and spend more time looking at their situation, because it's so complex, right? Oh my gosh. What do you guys think? They need to learn first. Yeah, exactly, Milky. I would agree. They need more time to learn and understand what is right and what is wrong. Yeah. Law and these things is so complex. Oh my gosh. This is why, legal dramas are always so interesting, right? Because there's no black or white, right? And actually, this is a phrase I was going to teach next time, but black, what was it? There's no black, I keep misspelling things, black or white. Yeah, meaning it's hard to know right or wrong in this situation, okay? By the way, this text, I feel like it's a bit small. Can you see it? Like, wait, let me change this up here. Is the text too small? Is it difficult to read? Anybody? I know there's a short delay on YouTube. I don't know why, but anyway. So there's no black or white. Oh, actually, sorry. It should be it's not black or white. Okay. But anyway. Small. Yeah, it is a bit small. Thank you. So I'm gonna... How do I... Because the problem is... Actually, let me make it bigger on the software. But then you can't see my... Okay, I'll move over here so I'm to the side of it. By the way, it's freezing. Let me turn on my heater. Because I'm the type of person, if my hands and feet are always freezing, my body's fine. My hands and feet, oh my gosh. But now I think you can hear the heater from my microphone. If it's very loud, please tell me and I'll turn it off. It's not a big deal. It's no problem. But yeah, anyway. So let's have a look. Yeah, Knots. It's not a question that has an easy answer, right? But yeah, it's okay. Thank you. But yeah, anyway, let's move this up a bit. Let's put it to the top corner. Okay, right. So let's move on to the next question. That was very deep. Can we have an easier question, please? Ooh, this this is an interesting one. Is it true that some people just have a talent for language? I would say yes. Some people do just have a talent for language. Some people are just very quick at learning vocabulary and languages. But there is an important thing to consider. Knots also agrees that some people have talent for language. Or what about you guys on Hello Talk? Do you think so? There's a short delay. Some people do have such... Yeah, I would agree. However, in the long language learning journey, as you know, it takes years. Even if you study, I don't know, 10 hours a week, you go to a language school and you do so much study for 1, 2, 3 years, you're still far away from becoming a native speaker. But because it's such a long journey, hard work or motivation and, enjoying the journey, finding fun ways to study, that will take you much further than talent. Yeah. I don't think it's the same as things like dance or other skills, right? Because I think dance, for example, is very fun. A lot of people, not everyone, a lot of people enjoy dancing, and it's just so fun that practicing and perfecting your craft, your skill, is fun, and it makes you do it for a long time. But learning languages, especially learning grammar from a book and reading these rules, so boring, right? Even as a teacher, I think it's so boring. Of course, if you have a good teacher, they will find different ways of teaching, making things fun. But unfortunately, not everyone can do this, and that's why we have good and not so good teachers, right? But yeah, language learning can be a lot more boring than a lot of other skills, and that's why it takes a lot longer and it takes more effort to get to that high level. So yes, people do have talent, but hard work, finding a fun way of studying, and these things are much more important than talent. Because people who have talent, even if they have talent, they'll give up if they don't have the motivation. So, there you go. I would describe myself as a hamster on a wheel. Sergey, interesting. What do you mean by that? You mean you're constantly running, you're constantly working hard, but you feel like you're not improving, you're staying in the same place? Is that what you're trying to say? Let me quickly read a comment from Knots. It's not talent, in my opinion. They have a better ability of learning. They may have great language to start. Interesting. I mean, the definition of talent is a natural ability, right? It means not having to work hard and just, if it's like a race, it's almost like you have a head start, yeah? You don't have to put so much effort in at the beginning, yeah? But, again, practice and hard work will take you much further. Talent is like a privilege. I guess so. I think I know what you mean, yeah. But, again, I'm thinking about the dictionary definition of privilege. I would say it's a bit different, but I know what you mean, Jess. That's a good idea. Thank you. And, yeah, it takes 10 years, but I'm fine with it. That's a wonderful way of thinking about it, Sergey. Instead of focusing on the goal, I need to be fluent, focus on just having fun, and you will naturally become fluent as a side effect of that, right? Because, you don't want to just remember those 10 years as I studied really hard. In those 10 years, you can meet people, you can travel, you can learn new things at the same time as learning the language. And when you look back on those 10 years, you want to think, wow, like, I met so many people. Now I have friends in so many different countries, and I remember one of my best memories was going to, Russia and meeting up with my friends that I talked to on Hello Talk, and they took me to try Russian food and things like that, right? You don't just want to focus on the language learning. You want to use the language learning as a tool to experience life, right? Because that's something you can only do with languages, right? But anyway, if you have a talent but don't do anything, it just does nothing. That's right, no, it's a very good point. Exactly. But, hi Safia, long time no see, how's it going? But, yeah, just enjoy the process. I don't like this kind of new, how do I say it? I don't like the focus of people saying, what's the fastest, what's the most efficient way? Because, yes, there are efficient ways, but they're usually stressful and boring. And personally, I don't think it's worth it. But that's just me. That's just my 2 cents. That's an American expression, by the way. We don't normally use it in the UK, but I'm here to teach English, not just British English. So, anyway, so why don't we have a look at the next question? Quick question. Safia, I'm good, thanks for asking. And you? I'm doing well, thank you. Sergey, did you watch the movie Terminal? I don't know Terminal. No, I haven't even heard of it. I wanted to say that I've heard of it, but I haven't. So you'll have to tell me about it later. But yeah, movies. Great way to relax. Maybe I should watch a movie later today. Anyway. Right, let's move on to our next question. Let's get rid of this. Okay. Ooh, this could be an interesting cultural difference here. What do you think about boys and girls only schools? What do you guys think? Because in the UK, we don't have so many of these schools anymore. Most of them are co-ed. Is it called co-ed? Sorry, give me a thing. Mixed schools? Yeah, I think when we talk about gender, we usually say, oh, here's my notes. We normally say co-ed, meaning co-education, or we say mixed schools, I believe, yeah? So we would say co-ed or mixed schools. However, if you want to say only one gender, you would say an all-girls school, or an only boys school or something like that. Yeah, you can mix and match. All boys school, only girls school. They're both okay. Yeah. But what do you guys think? I feel like this is a difficult question. Oh, you didn't get the question. So, what do you think about having boys only or girls only schools? Yeah. So in other words, only girls can go to this school, or only boys can go to this school. It's a bit of an old-fashioned type of education, at least in the UK, and I think in Japan they still have a few, but they're relatively rare. But again, it depends on the country, I think. What about you guys, in your countries? Do you have many boys-only or girls-only schools? Or are they mostly co-ed or mixed? So, what was it? I feel like, at least from my knowledge of history, the reason why they separated boys and girls, especially in Japan, again, I'm not 100% sure, but it's because, how do I say it? Gender hierarchy. Women were not as highly respected, or they weren't on the same level as men in the past. I mean, I still think there's a slight discrepancy or a slight difference even now, but women were taught, or rather expected, to be working at home. They were expected to be housewives. Housewives usually do the chores, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the children. As a result, society, or a lot of these universities and schools, thought, well, women don't need a special education because they're just going to be housewives. This was the old way of thinking. And they, of course, building schools and, changing the system to mix the genders, it takes a lot of work, money, and time. So they thought, we'll just separate them, it's easier, right? But now, with gender equality getting better, still not perfect, but they started to mix schools, and I think Japan being influenced by America and the UK, I think that's why they started to have more mixed schools. But personally, I don't think boys or girls only schools are great. There might be some benefits. Again, I've never been to a boys only school, but boys need to learn how to talk to girls, girls need to learn how to talk to boys, and it's just more fun. Things like love, romance, some of our best or most interesting childhood memories are like, kind of talking about the other sex, right? Valentine's Day, interacting and learning how to talk to the opposite sex. Because if you just go into the adult world without ever having had the experience of talking to the opposite sex, you're gonna have a few problems socializing and just making friends, even if you're not romantically interested. So I think that's a part of growing up, that is just learning and being with people of the opposite sex in that kind of environment. And that's why school is not just about learning subjects, it's about learning how to talk to people, right? But anyway, that's my opinion. Samyukta, in India, many co-ed schools, I think India, it's the same, mostly co-ed. Are there any boys or girls only schools? Why are they doing only same gender? Focus on studying? Good question, Milky. Again, now I don't know the reason, but before it was just because the system, the hierarchy was different. Oh my god, no friends around the opposite gender. I know, right? It's so sad. Like, what was it? It's funny. When I was in school, when we do sports, I think always, not 100% of the time, but when we were changing in the locker rooms, or the changing rooms, literally always people would talk about girls and who they thought was the prettiest, and if somebody had a crush on a different person, they would get so excited. Oh, you like Jessica, don't you? And then everybody like, oh, Jessica, and everybody would get so excited. And if you're the one being teased, if everybody's talking about you, it's quite embarrassing. But I think it's quite fun, as long as they don't start bullying you or taking it too far. But life would be boring if we're always just boys or just girls, right? Variety is the spice of life. There you go. Not says, I can't even imagine myself in an only boys school. Right? I know, right? Schools were made for studying, but I think they have deeper things to learn. Very true. Very true. Yeah. School is not just about studying. It's about, experiencing. That's why we have, field trips, right? Not just for learning how to do things, but just to go out with your friends, enjoy traveling with people and understanding how, in some schools, they even let the students decide where to go on these field trips, right? Giving the students a chance to take leadership and, voting, learning how to debate and discuss things with each other. That's super important, right? Because, sometimes there are people who just let other people decide everything for them. Now, I totally understand this. some people are naturally indecisive, which is fine. Sometimes I'm also indecisive. It's like when you're going out with a group of friends and they say, okay, where shall we go to eat? You know, what do you guys think? Maybe Italian food, Chinese food? And then everybody's like, I don't mind. I'm okay with anything. And then you ask the next person, what do you think? Yeah, they all sound good. Yeah, I think they all sound great. And then you go to the next person and everybody says, I don't mind. Okay, this is the worst answer you can give, okay? Because I know people are trying to be polite, but if everybody says, I don't mind, it's like we've gone back in a circle to square one. Like, we don't even know if anyone has a preference. But I know that everybody doesn't want to give, like, one option because they don't want to be rude, right? So my advice is to say two choices, right? I would say, in my case, I would say, oh, I think Italian or Chinese sounds good. And then when people have like just two choices, it's much easier to decide, right? It's like if you're asking your friend which Netflix series to watch. Instead of saying, what do you want to watch? It's easier to say, would you prefer this or this? And then they will usually choose one or the other. Or sometimes they will even say, I don't feel like either of those. And that's still useful information. Then you just suggest another two choices. But yeah. Anyway, off topic. Why was I talking about making decisions? But anyway. So, generally mixed, Mills says. In Turkey, but in religious schools, girls and boys are separated. I see, right. Yeah, usually religious schools do separate based on gender for certain classes and certain events. That was the same in my school. I went to a religious Catholic school and the sports classes, PE, were separated boys and girls because boys and girls generally do different sports. Were there any other subjects that were separated? Oh, of course, sex education. Generally, boys and girls have... I say generally, no. Boys and girls have different bodies, right? So it makes sense to have a boys' class and have a male teacher so that they feel a bit more comfortable. You know, teenagers are awkward and get embarrassed easily. So it's natural to make them feel more comfortable. We often separate the boys and girls into different classes so they feel a bit more relaxed when talking about the body and things like that. So, but yeah, religious schools, definitely, Mills. Mixed genders make various emotions and prepare us to adult life. Very true, Sergey. Temptation. Temptation, yeah, Milky. I mean, wait, are you talking about romantic temptation? That is like... I'm just thinking back to my school days. Well, as long as you don't harass any girl or boy, the opposite gender, I think it's fine, right? Having a crush is a normal part of life, but... yeah. It's really hard for me to choose not say. Yeah. I hate choices before my heart. Yeah, making a decision is tough. That's why usually if I'm in a group, I usually just try to choose something for everyone and everybody's usually happy. And if they don't like it, well then they should have said something, right? No, I'm joking. Yeah, it's difficult to choose sometimes. Anyway. Sexual temptation. Yeah, that's a big thing. That's a good point. Yeah, temptation or lust. Lust is the, how do I say it? The sexual feeling of wanting to be with someone. But it's a very physical temptation. Let me put that in the notes. Where have my notes gone? Lust. This is known as a sin, a bad thing that you do. Yeah, lust is a kind of instinct or a natural feeling, but it is one of the 7 sins that you might hear about in religion. What was it? There's lust, greed, What else? What, something to do with hunger? Oh, can anyone help me? What are the 7 sins in Christian religion? Lust, greed, not hunger. Ah, it's on the tip of my tongue. Greed. Oh, I give up. I'm rubbish. But yeah. Anyway, there are 7 sins. And then let's move on, because I've forgotten what I was saying. My mind has gone blank. But anyway, that was an interesting question. Envy and sloth. Thank you very much, Mills. Those are 2 great words. But you don't need to know them, don't worry. So, anyway, envy and lust. Sorry, envy and sloth. How do you feel about your own country? Guys, what do you think? How do you feel about your own country? I'm from the UK. Knots says mixed. Interesting. I'm also mixed about the UK. Knots says I won't say anything. The UK is a wonderful place. It's a very influential country. It has changed the world in good and bad ways, you know. The UK is famous for conquering other countries, taking over other countries, and taking a lot of things. But we've also, you know, had great advancements in technology, education, and things like that, right? Our cooking is still rubbish, though. But I do like that it's so multicultural. There are so many chances to interact with, you know, people from different countries. Just walking on the street, you have a relatively high chance of meeting somebody from France, Turkey, Italy, Spain, Hong Kong, and so on. Yeah. So especially if you send your child to go to study in a British school, I think they will get a lot of chances to experience or talk to international students, which I think is wonderful, right? And it really changes the way you look at things when you go back to your own country. So I highly recommend, if you have a child and you are thinking of sending them to study abroad, okay, our food is not the best, but it's a good experience if you have the money to send them to a British international school. Yeah, that's how I feel about the UK. Generally good. Food is not great. Yeah, exactly not. Every country has pluses and minuses. I would say pros and cons, or yeah, advantages and disadvantages, definitely. Yeah, what about you guys? Do you feel positive, negative, or mixed about your own country? Yeah. Alright, since no one else has any... Japan can't have guns, I think it's good. Yeah, that's a good point. Guns are a very big topic, especially when it comes to comparing America to the rest of the world. I think, are there any other countries apart from America that allow guns? Ow. I don't think so. But then again, I'm not very knowledgeable about these things. Not says Europe is getting worse. Oh, interesting. I don't know how it's getting worse, but yeah, I do think in many different ways, lots of countries are not doing well. You know, the environment, global warming, politics. It's quite depressing, and this is why sometimes watching or reading the news, you know, the newspaper, TV news, and social media, it's quite negative, right? And this is what they call doom scrolling, when you're looking through articles and up-to-date real world news. It's often very negative, and it makes you feel depressed. This is called doom scrolling, yeah? Looking at negative news. I guess on your phone. Yeah, because scrolling means kind of this action where you're going doot, 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 yeah, to scroll. You can also use this, a scroll wheel to scroll up and down. If I do this, up, down, I'm scrolling right now, yeah? So scroll is another good word. Scroll to move up and down a screen, okay? Pay attention to these words because I will be testing you at the end of the live stream. I'm going to, and don't worry, I will also be sending these notes to everyone on my moments. I just remembered. I need to do this before I forget. How many people do we have here now? 23, 24? I don't know how many in YouTube, but recently I've been doing a lot of live streams, and a few people have asked me if they can get some notes from the live streams, yeah, to review words and what was it, just to study the vocabulary again. So I'm gonna quickly send you guys a link to my Google Drive where you can download the presentations that I've used for the last half year. So let me just quickly share it. Give me 1 second. So live stream presentations, share, copy link, and then I'm going to put it in YouTube, and here you can access this here. I will pin the comment. Let me put it in YouTube as well. 1 second. It is this one. Put it here. I hope you can access it. If you have a problem, please let me know. And then I will pin it on... How do I pin comments on Hello Talk? Here we go. Okay. Now, you should be able to see this folder. Oh, 1 second. Not this one. This one. Does everyone see this folder? Can you see this place? And if you click on them, there should be a button saying download. Okay? I apologize because I changed all of them to a PDF file, but the font of some of the words have changed, so it might look a little strange, but most of the pictures and everything else should be okay. Alright, so can everyone get it? Mohammed, 6 PDF files? That's right, yeah. I started live streaming in October of last year. So the first live stream was Halloween, fears and phobias. Second one was the UK and British culture, psychology, idioms. Last week was Valentine's Day, and yesterday was movies. So can you all download and open these files? Give me a yes if you can. I think Safia says yes. Yeah, can everybody access these files? On YouTube as well. Let's go here. Yeah, it works. Perfect. Thank you very much. Knots. Alright, and of course, every time I do a live stream, I will upload the recording. Fudge! I closed the window for YouTube. Sorry, 1 second. So yeah, every time I do a live stream, I will upload the recording to YouTube, and I will try to upload the presentation and the notes to Google Drive. Yeah. You can try... Can you save this link? I don't know how you save this Google Drive link. I will keep it open so you guys can download the new ones when I update it. But yes, try to bookmark the folder, and then every week I will try to upload it. So, okay? All good? Alright. So, let me take a quick sip of my drink. Alright. So, yeah, there were few streams from me. Yeah, there were only a few because I've been trying to balance, like, YouTube videos, like recorded videos, and live stream. But, to be honest, I don't think I'm very good at making videos, so maybe live streaming might be better. But this year I'm going to do my best to live stream every week if I can, usually on a Saturday. Yeah, I'll also try to make a few videos. If you have any requests, like, hey, I would really like to learn about more English idioms, you know, on YouTube, then let me know. And if there's a very popular suggestion, maybe I'll make a YouTube video about it, okay? But yeah, all right. So, could you please create a group here on HelloTalk so you can get a notification? Ah, interesting. Yes, I will think about that. Yeah, I don't know how to do it. I know Jonathan does it, another famous live streamer. But yeah, I can think about doing that. Thank you for the suggestion, Mohammed. Yeah. All right. So now that we've done that, that's out of the way, we can go back to the questions. All right. So let's go back. All right. What is the most important quality for a friend? Here, I think we're talking about when you have a friend or when you're looking for a friend, what is the most important personality characteristic or most important thing that you think is important for a good or a best friend? Yeah, maybe you can think about your best friend right now or your very close friends. Why are they your closest friend? What makes them so special? Yeah. I would say, ooh, Safi has a good one. Loyalty. Very good. Oh, sorry, let me just check. Sergey says YouTube is blocked in a few countries, but HelloTalk isn't. I didn't think about that. Interesting. Thank you for bringing that up. I'll get back to that. Loyalty and respectiveness. Oh, respect. Let me just quickly write that. Be careful. Respectiveness. The noun is respect. Okay. Don't worry. I'm not trying to, you know, say, oh, you're wrong. It's just that if it's a common mistake, then I will point it out so everybody can learn from each other. But yes, respect is super important, definitely. Yeah. I mean, respect is important in any situation, but I think when it comes to respect, it's related to empathy. Does everyone understand the word empathy? Empathy is like, oh, if I zoom in, that might be better. Ooh. Empathy is the ability to understand another person's feelings, to imagine things from their point of view. A nice idiom you can use here is, what's it? To put yourself in someone else's shoes. Okay, now I know this is a very long idiom, but if you can use it, you sound supernatural, yeah? And we do use this quite often, yeah? For example, oh, what is wrong with my throat? Sorry. Okay, so, for example, you can also say, like, when you're trying to give advice to somebody and you're pretending to be them, you can say, if I were you, da-da-da. Yeah, that's the easy way of saying it. You could also say, if I put myself in your shoes, then it means the same thing. Yeah, if I were you, I would do this. Okay, and be careful, because we're imagining a situation, we're using the what do you call it, conditional form, the second conditional, I forgot, but we use would, yeah, not will, because we're imagining a hypothetical situation. Okay, but yeah, Sergey says reliability, Safia says empathy. There you go. And Muhammad says, because we're living in a world of chaos. Very true, very true. Grammar practice, yay, good. All right. But yeah, having empathy or being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, that is so important, right? It just makes human communication a lot easier, and other people will definitely notice your empathy, right? But the difficult thing is, it's hard. Can you teach empathy? What do you guys think? Because you can't, for example, you can't just tell a child, oh, like, try thinking about how your friend would feel. Yeah, like, you know, when children get angry and have arguments, maybe they say something rude, sometimes children just don't understand why the other person is angry, right? Maybe like, oh, I'm just telling the truth, yeah? His clothes do look stupid, yeah? But it's because they don't have empathy yet that they don't realize how their words can hurt people. But you can't just say as a parent, think about how they feel, because they just don't have that ability. So I guess it's not something you can teach, but maybe you can. I don't know. What do you guys think? Empathy can be taught by showing action. I know what you mean, but I feel like empathy is something that, well, first of all, it's not a visible thing. It's an abstract concept. And many people don't realize empathy is happening, all right? Or we don't notice it. If it's happening to us, if they're being empathetic to us and they're being kind to us, then we might be able to learn and copy that person. We might say, wow, like, he was really kind when talking about me, when talking to me about my problems. I wish I were like him or her. Then in this way, I guess you could learn empathy. But it's not so easy to just teach, especially like in a class, right? But Grace, that's a very good point. I think they do need experiences, yeah. Empathy often comes from, well, the definition of empathy is understanding how someone feels, or just trying to understand how someone feels. And how do we understand other people? It's by comparing it to experience that we have had. We can't understand another person, for example, if their pet died and they're sad. If we don't have a pet, or if we've never had a pet that has died, we can't understand that. However, if we have recently experienced maybe our, I don't know, grandmother died, then we can kind of relate. It's not exactly the same, but someone dying, losing a loved one, and that like deep sadness, we can try to connect because of our similar experience. But if we don't have that similar experience, and it's so hard to kind of relate. And this is another super important word, to relate to someone. Yeah. For example, it's hard for me to relate to his problems because I've never experienced anything like that. Oh, here's a problem. Oh, it's too... Anyway. Now that is definitely too small. There's no way you can see this. Okay, let's just... I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see it. There we go. Okay, that's a bit better. Yeah, to relate to someone. This is a word that we use all the time. Yeah. Anyway, so let me just quickly read. What was it? I believe, for example, when we were young, we might say things without thinking. True. As we grow up, when something like that happens to us. When someone says something bad to us, for example, we'll know how that feels. Yeah, very true. Exactly. Unfortunately, not everyone will do the same thing as you, Chris. Yeah, that's very true. Exactly. And the interesting thing about behavior and human personality, and this is a huge debate in psychology, is our personality or our behavior determined by our environment? In other words, the people around us and the experiences we have, or is it genetics? In other words, our parents, right? Now, I think it's mostly environment. And even when people say it's genetics, because your father is short-tempered, you are also short-tempered, I don't think it's the DNA itself. However, I've heard that there is some research that says some personality traits, I can't remember which ones, can be affected by certain parts of DNA, genes we call them. But most of the time, I think it's just environment, right? And this is the difficult thing. If you're a parent, you can do your best to create a good family environment, to show them, be a good role model. But when they're at school, you have no control. You can't control what their teachers will be like, what their classmates will be like. And if they're surrounded by like bad students who are always misbehaving and doing bad things, they might become more like them. They might do bad things so that they can have more friends, even if those friends are not good people. Children are always worried about their social image, and the worst thing, the scariest thing for many children is just being alone and not having friends. And as a parent, you can't control that. But hopefully, and this is why I believe it's very important to send your child to extracurricular activities. That is, give them chances to go to different places and try different things. Yeah, it could be sports, tennis club, after school club. It could be a cram school, but cram school is quite stressful and serious. But I think, 1 hour, 2 hours a week is fine. But giving them a chance to try different hobbies and meet different people, that is so important. Sometimes more important than the activity itself. That's just me, though. But, yeah. I was lucky to be born by kind parents. Interesting. Yeah. We often take our parents for granted, right? But, especially there are a lot of people who don't have the best parents, and that's okay. It's not always their fault, and no one starts off as a perfect parent, right? It's something you learn over time. As long as you're trying to improve and you're reflecting on your parenting, I think it's fine. But yeah, some of us are luckier than others to have very kind parents. For me, my dad never watches this, but my mum is the super kind, super, always supporting parent. But my father was the strict one who never praises me or never says, "Good job, son." And I think that's why when I was a teenager, I really liked being complimented. It's because my father never did it. So when my teacher complimented me, I was like, yes! Of course, not out loud. I was like in my head. But yeah. So it's a mix. Experiences can be like math. Sometimes we learn just after one lesson, and sometimes it takes longer. True. Very good. But sometimes it's mixed, because you can see your kids doing something similar to what you were doing during your childhood. Ah, interesting. Yeah, very good. Often we take after our parents. Yeah. Another phrase, to take after one's parents. This means to be similar to your parents. Yeah. For example, we often ask, do you take after your mother or father? Yeah. And this can be physical, for example, appearance, or it can be personality. Okay. So, for example, oh, you take after your mother. You have the same wonderful, blue eyes. Or you can say, yeah, he really takes after his father. Like, he's so smart, or something like that. Okay? So this is another phrase to use. Okay? Let me just have a quick drink. Alright. My feet are warm and toasty. Okay. Right. I agree with genes. Ah, interesting. Yeah, maybe genetics does have an effect. But, yeah. Usually you will find, especially in Asian cultures, it's like, I think it's usually the father who's quite strict. Actually, sometimes the mother. Have you ever heard of the phrase, tiger mum? We often hear this in Asian culture, but we often say we have like tiger mom, or we also say helicopter mom. It's a very funny phrase, but tiger mom means like, is it? I'm actually not 100% sure, but I think it's like a very strict, very aggressive mom, who's usually aggressive because they want to protect their children. Yeah. But it can be a bad thing. They can be too strict. A helicopter mom is usually maybe like someone, a mother who is like always watching you. Yeah, so imagine you're at school, you're on your phone, they're always like behind you watching you, like a helicopter above you, right? Do we say helicopter dad? Helicopter mom? I think it's usually mom. I've never heard anybody say helicopter dad or tiger dad. Now, I think it's the reason is because usually in most countries the mother takes care of the child. They spend the most time with the child during the early years of their life, and so they have to be strict and they have to teach them the rules, what is right, what is wrong, what's good, what's bad. Yeah. It's usually the mother's responsibility because the father is outside at work. But yeah, have you heard of this phrase? Anyway, genes and environment affect our empathy, definitely. Yeah. My father is very calm while my mother is talkative. Ah, interesting. Yeah, we get that a lot. I think actually both my parents are quite talkative. But yeah, that's a common pattern. Father quiet, mother talkative. Like talent, genes can't change usually. Very good. I'm looking at wrong camera. Very good. Now you can have mutations, right? Mutations, a change in the DNA, natural change. But usually they don't. What's up, mate? Hi, Alex. How's it going? I recognize that name. Ah, yes, Alex, I remember. Eric, your father is watching it. Where? I'm always talking bad about my father. No, like, looking back, I can appreciate my strict father. And if you were in yesterday's live stream, you will remember the story where my father he knew I was not sleeping, but he would carry me to my bed and tuck me in. Oh, such a heartwarming memory. But most of my memories are of him being quite strict. But now we have a very good relationship. We joke. He's still a bit short-tempered sometimes, but it's just because he's stressed from work, so we understand. We actually work together. We have a family business, so I work with my family. We sometimes have arguments during work. Not often. It's quite rare. But this is why they say you should never mix work with family, because work is stressful and you don't want to carry the work stress into your private life, right? But anyway. Possessive, a drone mom, interesting. Yeah. A drone mom, that's interesting. Yeah, drone, very similar to helicopter. My grandma is a tiger mom. So it's not just, well, I don't have a tiger mom, but it looks like quite a lot of people have a tiger mom. Interesting. That's why I don't gamble at all, because my mom was, oh no, did she go to pachinko? Yeah, it sometimes our parents become role models unexpectedly. Like, there are parents that will try to set a good example. Yeah, some parents try to set a good example for their children by, being kind, I don't know, being open with their communication, asking what's wrong, how are you. But some parents set a bad example. For example, gambling too much. Yeah. Gambling a little bit might be okay as long as you control yourself, and you know when to stop. I guess it's kind of a hobby. But they might set a bad example, and when the child looks at them, they think, ooh, I do not want to be like them. Yeah. For example, my father, bless him, again, he's not perfect. I'm not perfect, but he's a bit too short-tempered. Yeah. So when I look at him, I think, okay, I need to calm down. And it really scared me. Sometimes he got really angry at people, and I thought, wow, that's what he looks like. I never want to be like that. Yeah. So sometimes people accidentally set a bad example and have a good effect on someone. Yeah. But of course, again, no one's perfect. I'm certainly not perfect. What's a bad thing about me? I'm lazy sometimes. I just procrastinate and delay things with house chores, especially when I'm washing dishes. I think it's easiest to wash a dish just after you finish eating, right? Because, for example, if it's a liquid, it's not hard, and you just add water and a bit of soap, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But I'm just like, I'll do it tomorrow, it's not a big deal. And then you do that over and over, and then the plates come up, and then you think, oh, there's too many plates, I don't want to do it. And then, yeah. So, I'm lazy, sometimes. Anyway, Tiger Grandma. What's your major? I guess you're a psychologist. That's a good guess. I did major in psychology, that's right. But yeah, I love psychology. I'm very interested in social psychology. That is, society, how humans kind of work together, how we interact with each other, and things like that. So, there we go. But anyway, tiger, helicopter. How many notes do we have? Let's have a quick look at the notes. 1 second. Ooh, we have quite a lot of words. Okay, I'm gonna test you guys. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. Don't worry, I will send you guys this in my moments and on the YouTube post. But yeah, you're lazy all the time, not? Oh my gosh. I think most of us are lazy, right? But anyway. So let's have a look. Essential, critical, step on someone's toes. Oh, it's a lot of words. But anyway, okay, let's go back. Let's have a look at maybe 1 or 2 more questions. I think I'm going to finish in about 30 minutes because today is a bit more of a relaxed live stream. But anyway, let's have a look at the next question. Hui! And 3, 2, 1. Oh. What is the best way to make... Sorry, it should be a good first impression. What do you guys think? I have a lot of experience with this when I meet a new student. Yeah. I've probably taught maybe more than like 300, 400 different students over my 7 years of teaching, maybe 8 now. And of course, making a good first impression is essential. It's critical, yeah, especially if you want more students, right? But what do you guys think is important for making a good impression, a good first impression? That's why the way you explain anything is so related. Oh, interesting. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I'm good at explaining things. Not says I just start rapping Eminem songs. Wait, is that how do I say it? Make a good first impression. Mom spaghetti, palms are heavy. No, wait, palms are sweaty, mom's spaghetti. I think that's how it goes. Yes. Why do you start rapping? I think that would scare a lot of people. But yeah, could you please share with us your YouTube channel link? Yeah, no worries. I'll quickly share it now. But what was it? Yeah, making a good first impression is especially important, well, pretty much for anything, really. For example, if you're looking for a language partner and you do a voice conversation or things like that, how do I say it? If you make a good first impression, then a lot of people will want to contact you again. You'll make more friends, you'll get more invites, and people will just want to talk to you, right? So, first impression friendly, definitely, yeah. Mohammed, there is the link, you can find it there. But what was it? Personally, I think the easiest, actually making a good first impression is easier than many people think. Many people think that you have to be interesting or a good speaker, charismatic, kind, and yes, all of those things do help. But I would say if I were in your shoes, or if I had to put myself in your shoes, the one skill that is most important is listening. The reason why I think listening is so critical is because, again, going back to psychology, humans, unfortunately, are instinctively or naturally selfish. Yeah? We have to take care of ourselves first before we can think about anyone else. Yeah? And many people think being selfish is a bad thing. I don't think so. Everybody needs to be selfish to some extent, right? Like, every time you see a homeless person, if you donated, I don't know, £5, £10, yeah, which is like, for example, one meal, that's wonderful. That's great. But you're not a bad person for choosing not to donate to charity, If you're using the money on yourself, maybe to treat yourself to a nice dinner, or to treat your family, to buy presents for friends, that's okay, yeah? And it also depends on how much money you have, but again, it's okay to be selfish sometimes. But anyway, completely off topic. Listening is great for making a good first impression, because if you're a good listener, most people want to talk about themselves. And good listeners are very rare. I will tell you from my experience, both teaching and going to social events, meetups, and just, going to parties and things like that, I would say only 20% of people I meet, I would say, are good listeners. I will say women tend to be better at listening than men. It might be related to, like, pride. I think men have a lot more pride and they like to show off a bit more. And they tend to argue a bit more. Like, they go really in-depth into their opinions. Like, they will often argue and debate about stuff. Which is not terrible, if you're polite. But the key to being a good speaker is just asking the right questions. And this is something that, unfortunately, people do not practice enough. when I teach language lessons, like my one-on-one students, my focus is making the student speak as much as possible, right? Because if I speak, that's pointless, it's meaningless, yeah? Because I want the student to speak, and then I take notes, like you can see here. If they make mistakes, I'll note them down, and then I can give them lots of feedback after the lesson, right? If I speak, there's no feedback to give. So, but leading the conversation, asking the right questions so that the other person feels comfortable and they feel important, after the conversation finishes, they will think, wow, that was like really fun. Like, it's so rare that somebody actually listens to me. And everybody knows the feeling of, maybe it's a one-on-one conversation or maybe a group conversation, but when the other person or one person in a group, oof, they speak forever. They dominate the conversation, right? And then you want to hear someone else's opinion, or you want to speak to everyone, right? Of course, you know, you want to hear their opinion, but you don't want to listen to them for hours, right? So being aware of this, and this is something I do as well, I often say, oh, sorry, I went off topic. That I often say that when I realize I'm talking about one thing for too long. Now, live streaming is a bit different because it's my job to do most of the talking, but I want you guys to talk as well. And I'm happy to hear your comments. I think your opinions are much more interesting than mine, right? But anyway, long story short, to be a good listener, sorry, I've put the wrong, I've got the wrong screen. Long story short, if you want to be or make a good first impression, be a good listener, ask lots of questions and make them feel comfortable. And I will tell you, 90% of people will love you and they will have a great impression of you, even if you didn't share a lot about yourself. Because listening shows that you're kind, patient, and interested in them. Okay? So, we'll leave it there. But anyway, oh, my throat's killing me. But yeah, being friendly, clean appearance and friendly atmosphere. Yeah, clean appearance is very important. When I was younger, I didn't care about my appearance or fashion. But now I do, especially because I'm doing live streams and making videos. So I can't just put on my pajamas, have my hair all messy like this, because, oh, I look kind of like a Goku, like, you know, Super Saiyan. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, like, of course, I don't like to spend an hour getting ready for my appearance. I want to focus on the important stuff, like the presentations and the questions and the live stream. But, you know, you need to look clean so that people think you're professional, right? People think I'm professional, but I'm not. Okay, right. So, meeting first time, listening, yeah. If no communication meeting first time, one person will definitely. True, yeah. If you don't give the other person a chance to share things about themselves, they will lose interest very quickly. Give them a smile, definitely. A smile, very important. Thanks for the advice. No worries, no worries. Don't worry about the gifts, it's okay. And then, what was it? What do you think? She doesn't chat with me. Sorry, I apologize because on the YouTube side, I think there's only one person talking in YouTube, so sometimes I forget, but I am trying to look at both. So I apologize if I forget. Anyway, so, oh, we have plenty of time. Let's continue. Let's have a look at the next question. All right. Hey. Do you enjoy going to parties? Ooh, this is a good question. Guys, do you like parties? Do you like dancing? Well, actually, first of all, when you say, or when we say party, what do you think of? Because I have a different image, or there are different types of parties. There are house parties. There's like a party like going out, like and having fun in a nightclub. There's like a social event, like a party in a public place, like a Chinese New Year party or something. To me, when I was in university, and again, please do share your opinions. Oh, Milky likes parties. Yeah, I love parties. But in university, especially in the UK, it's university culture to go out drinking, go to the pub, go to the nightclubs with your friends. And these are basically parties, I would say. Yeah, it doesn't have to be in a room. It can be going out with friends, I would say. And I'll be honest, again, I wanted to make more friends. I wanted to be more confident. And I wanted to find a nice girl in university. So although I was very uncomfortable, I was not very confident, and I was so scared of talking to people, right? If I were, if I thought about live streaming back then, I never would have been able to do it. If I knew, oh my gosh, 30 people watching me, I would be terrified. But anyway, in the UK, especially in bars and nightclubs and things like that, there are student discounts for drinks, entry fee, and it's just normal to go to these places as a student, right? And I will say, I went to the nightclub once. If you don't know what a nightclub is, let me quickly show you. Nightclub. So it's like this dark room. There's a lot of loud music and like bright lights, and you're just dancing. People say it's a great way to meet people, socialize, and make new friends. I completely disagree. I agree you can meet people, but I don't think you can make friends. The reason is the music is too damn loud. Like, I can barely hear myself think. It's just like, and then I'm like, hi, what's your name? What? Huh? Can you write it? And then she doesn't hear me. And I'm like, I pretend like I'm hearing them. I'm just like, I'm like, oh, okay. My name's Eric. Eric. And then I get a piece of paper and I start writing. So I hate these places, and especially it gives me a headache. And then sometimes people are smoking, and then you're always bumping into people, and then when you bump, somebody's holding a drink like beer and then it spills onto you. And then when you come out, the nice thing is you come out of the nightclub, it's late at night, and most people are still inside in the pubs and the nightclubs. It's so quiet. Fresh air. I'm not breathing someone else's oxygen, and it's just, it's so refreshing. It's like when you get out of a hot bath and then you just relax in your room that's like much cooler. It's kind of like that. But yeah, I think nightclubs suck. But if you enjoy dancing and you're there for the music, the atmosphere, kind of like a concert, not exactly the same, then I would say it's good. But definitely not for socializing and making friends. And I'll be honest, a lot of university students just go to these nightclubs to pick up and hit on girls or guys. And then maybe if things go well, they can, have a one-night stand. But that's not for me. I'm a good boy. My parents raised me to be very proper. I'm a good boy. No, I just pretend. But anyway, yeah, nightclubs I hate. However, let me show you one more place. This is a classic British pub, okay? In the UK, as you may know, pub culture is super important, yeah? Often you'll have these like smaller tables, you know, lots of people speaking. Sometimes there will be a TV showing the sports. Can I find a good picture of this? I do like the design or the interior design of these older pubs. It's quite like lots of wooden tables, a very nice atmosphere. A lot of them have a lot of history. And sometimes you can get some really good food as well. Usually like burgers, I know they're American, but burgers, how do I say, pies and things like chips. Yeah, not fries, chips. They are different. But yeah, these pubs, they are also quite noisy. Like when you sit down, there are a lot of people talking, but it's, I would say, if the nightclub is like 100% volume, the pub is like 60%. Like you can hear people easily if they're sitting next to you. But if they're sitting like 2 or 3 seats away, and then you might have to lean forward and say, you know, speak a bit louder. But it's definitely way better than the nightclub. Also, I think alcohol is slightly cheaper in the pub. In the nightclub, it's overpriced. And also, so easy to spill your drink. So, anyway. Sorry, I went off topic. You like it sometimes. Oh, yeah, right screen. You like it sometimes. NUY. Interesting. Yeah. What happened? What changed? You're not comfortable with so many people, but a small group party. Ah, good point, Eddie. Yeah, I agree. I think some of my favorite parties are just home house parties. That is, inviting just close friends. Like, I don't know if I would call it a party, but like, yeah, it's a gathering. You invite your friends to your home, you have dinner together. Some of my favorite like gatherings or parties are where we cook together or we go shopping together, even both, right? Like, for example, when I met up with my Japanese friends in the UK, it was Setsubun no Hi, and they were making these like, by the way, Setsubun is like a Japanese holiday where you throw beans at a demon. Don't ask me why. I don't know the exact history, but I'm sure maybe Eddie or Milky can help me out. But basically, it's traditional to eat this like sushi roll, kind of like kimbap. Okay, no, it's quite different. Kimbap is Korean and the ingredients are different. But anyway, this long sushi roll. But I didn't know how to make it, right? And I didn't have the ingredients. Like, where do I buy Japanese rice vinegar and the seaweed and things like that? But my Japanese friends knew. So we decided to go shopping together. And they showed me where to buy the Japanese ingredients, which was really nice. And then we had the party at my house. And then they showed me how to make it. We made it together. I made some terrible looking sushi rolls. Like, it was falling apart. When you bite into it, all of the ingredients fall out. So I was like eating it with my fingers, like almost like an Indian curry. I was terrible. But it was a great memory. And that's why I still remember it today. And it's also a great way to study languages, right? Languages are often connected to memories. If you're having fun, or if you're doing something memorable, like hanging out with friends, going to a new place, traveling, yeah, then often while you are traveling, this is a great time to learn a lot of vocabulary for the things around you, right? How many times have you walked around a place and thought, what do you call that thing? But then you realize you're by yourself or you don't have a native speaker friend. Yeah. Like, I don't know why I remember this word, but I learned the Japanese word for moss because we were walking through the British countryside and there was a lot of this stuff. We call this moss, right? A lot of the older buildings have moss growing on the old walls and things like that. And I remember the word in Japanese, it's kokke, I believe. But anyway, because the memory of traveling and seeing these old buildings and all of these things and the history is so memorable, connecting the word to that memory as a set, it's a lot easier than just reading from a textbook, just reading an article about plants that I don't care about, right? So if you can, definitely, I know it's quite scary, but if you have a Hello Talk partner and they come to your country or you go to their country, try and arrange a meetup. Again, only if you trust them, if you're close, because of course it can be dangerous. There are a lot of bad people on the internet. But if you can meet up, and don't hesitate to ask while you're walking around, look around and think, oh, by the way, how do you say this? And if you are tour guiding or showing your partner around, if it's your country, it's a great chance to explain history, culture, and all of these things. So I highly recommend it. This is one of the best ways to study. But many people think it's not studying because you're not writing notes in a book. But I would say it's one of the best ways to study. But anyway. Okay, right, going back. What was it? I've never gone through a nightclub, and I think it is like hell. Oh, so you have. Actually, that's a very good comparison. I would say going through a nightclub is like hell. It's hot, it's sweaty, it's dark, and you don't know anyone. Ugh, it's a terrible place. Ugh. But again, it's not my cup of tea. It's not our cup of tea. But some people like it. But there you go. Bro, I have too many deep minds about every simple topic. Hey, if you have deep thoughts about any topic, I think that's good. Yeah. The common problem is that people cannot talk about a topic deeply. Often when we think about like IELTS or just normal conversation, a common problem is that we don't have anything to talk about. And sometimes it's just because you can't remember anything. Sometimes it's just because you're not ready. Heck, me, I've prepared questions, but I haven't decided what I'm going to talk about beforehand. Like, I didn't know I was going to talk about, like, having a rave in nightclubs and, picking up girls and things like that. But did I talk about picking up girls? Anyway, I think it becomes a lot easier to have deeper conversations. Yes, vocabulary is super important, but it's also just having experiences, right? Which is why it's so difficult to talk about a topic, even if you have the vocabulary, but you're not interested in it, right? So let's say you read, news about politics, but you don't like it, yeah? You might know the vocabulary and you can talk about it, but if they ask you, oh, what do you think about Trump? Or like, what do you think about your prime minister in your country? You never think about it. Or you've never had any of those like experiences, right? Like, what do you think about going to foreign countries? And I say, oh, I've never been abroad. End. There's nothing to talk about, right? So remember, having the ability to speak fluently and, have deep conversations, it's not just about vocabulary and your language level. It's also about just having experiences to talk about. And that comes from traveling, making new friends, and just trying new hobbies and things, right? So you'll also find that as you talk to more people and spend more time with them and try new hobbies, you'll have more things to talk about. So yeah, it's not always language ability. So, good boy. Good boy. By the way, if you say good boy, that's usually like to a young child or often to a dog. So if you say good boy to me, I feel like somebody's like, good boy. And I'm like, thank you. Anyways. Sorry. Eric's English is standard. I like your accent. Thank you very much. I've actually always hated my voice, but I'm glad to hear that other people like it. Maybe I need to go to another app. Where do you stream, Knots? I stream on HelloTalk. If you... What was it? Can I find my HelloTalk thing? But yeah, I stream on HelloTalk. But if you're a free user, you only have a limit. I think it's... Is it 1 hour? 2 hours? I don't know. So actually, YouTube is better if you're watching for a long time and you like a bigger screen. Okay? So actually, Knots, I think... Personally, I prefer YouTube anyway. But I like HelloTalk because you can take guests on stage. And what was it? It's just different. Yeah, different audience. But anyway. What was it? I'm 15, I'm a boy. You are not 15. Not, are you really 15? Wow, your English is great for 15. Holy moly. By the way, holy moly is a nice phrase to use. Maybe you don't need to know this, but if you want to sound like a native speaker and want to spice up your language, a great phrase, or this is what we call reduplication. Okay, you don't need to know this phrase. Reduplication is words that rhyme. So, for example, you might have heard me say, easy peasy. And the whole phrase is lemon squeezy. Yeah? Squeezy. But most people just say easy peasy. And this part, Z, is rhyming. Or it sounds similar. So it has a nice kind of rhythm to it. Yeah? Oh no, wrong button. Here we go. So, when words have similar sounds, like in poems, there are certain phrases that do this. And for example, I said, holy moly. Yeah. So easy peasy just means easy, but holy moly is a phrase to show surprise. Okay? So earlier, when Knots said he was 15, I was so surprised because I thought he was an adult studying English for many years because his English was great. So when he said he was 15, I was like, what? Holy moly. Yeah? So that's just surprise. Okay? It's a very natural way and a fun way of showing surprise. These rhyming phrases are called reduplication. Is there anything else? Easy peasy, holy moly. I can't think of any right now. Do you guys know any? Anyway. But let's continue. So, what's the topic? May I know, why do you want to know this thing on this app? What do you mean? I don't quite understand the question. What do you want to do on this app? I just like live streaming. I like connecting with more people, talking to people, and these presentations, you know, about psychology, how do I say it? Psychology, Halloween, Valentine's Day. I don't have many students. Right now I teach about 20 to 25 students every week. It takes me about 1 week to make these presentations. Heck, the last movies one had like 180 slides. Yeah. It takes me a long time to make these presentations, but if I just use them once, you know, for my one-on-one students, it's not a waste, but it's a lot of work for something that I use just once, right? But if I live stream it and I record it, this means anybody I meet in the future anybody that is serious about learning English and wants to, I don't know, study something in a fun way. Of course, I don't meet new people and say, hey, come check out my channel, look at me, I'm a famous YouTuber. Actually, I don't like to tell people that I'm a live streamer or YouTuber. But if they are interested and they, take my lessons, I might say, by the way, you don't have to, but if you're interested in, I know you're interested in psychology, here's a video. If you're interested, you can check it out. So it's like, it will help me and others in the future as well. And knowing that I'm going to help people in the future, maybe in 10 years, 20 years, maybe hundreds, thousands of people if they watch it, that's very motivating and it makes me want to work hard, right? So hopefully I can make even better live streams, even better presentations in the future. And that is thank you to you guys. If you guys weren't watching me right now, I wouldn't have the motivation to continue working and making these presentations because, yeah, it's not easy. And I'm getting no money from this. So a lot of people might think it's a waste of time. And of course, I would love to make money from this. But first, I want to focus on providing value. I want to give you something interesting, fun, and useful. And then naturally, if people want to take my lessons, I can meet you guys one-on-one, have private lessons, then I will naturally get more money. But the most important thing is to give you something useful or interesting, right? So that's how I feel. Sorry, that got a bit deep. But anyway, let me quickly read the comments. I also hate my voice. Oh, don't hate your voice. But I understand what you mean. But yeah, listening, speaking, writing, English songs are also good. All right. I missed a lot of comments. Let me go down. This is the problem with Hello Talk. Sometimes the comments don't automatically scroll down. So I think no one's speaking. And then I scroll on my mouse and I go, So, hi everyone. Hopefully someday you can join on stage. Yeah, definitely. I would love to welcome people on stage. Not today, but we can't see your writing. Really? I think you can see it. I can see it on my screen. I'm very interested in all of your classes. Yeah, Milky. I mean, I really would love to teach all of you. What was it? I'm going to open my classes to other people. That is one-on-one classes, and during the lesson I usually give notes like this, and what was it? You can see my normal feedback that I show is here. Okay, so if you are interested, sorry, this is a bit of self-advertisement, but so we have the notes here, the name, and then topics, good points, bad points, pronunciation, keywords, meanings, example sentences, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So if you are interested in taking a lesson with me in the future, this is the kind of feedback you will get, and I will usually have around 2 pages of lesson notes, okay? So that's what it looks like, okay? Anyway, but I don't, of course, I'm not going to force anybody to, take my lessons because, of course, I do charge money, and I know not everyone wants to spend so much money to study. So, yeah. What were we talking about? What was it? You're a very good speaker. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a lot of practice. I mean, the most difficult thing about speaking well, especially as a native, is because, and this probably happens in your own language, if you are a very talkative person, sometimes your brain works faster than your mouth, and you're trying to say something, and you're like, so basically, like, what I wanted to say, you kind of fumble. Fumble, is that the best word? You make a lot of mistakes because your mouth is trying to catch up to your brain. For me, I had that problem, but I've learned to slow down. For me, the challenge is using the right level of vocabulary depending on who I'm speaking to. Often you'll hear me speak and I will pause before a word, and that's because I'm thinking about what level of word to choose. For example, important, yeah, essential, and then critical. If I'm talking to a beginner, I would use this word. I would ignore these words because they probably won't understand. However, if I know they use this word too much, I will use this word. And then they will probably say, oh, what does that mean? I might say, oh, it's just another way of saying important, right? So when I'm teaching, I'm basically thinking about the student's level, and I will go +1. I will try to introduce vocabulary that is the next level, but not too high. Because if the word is too difficult, then the student's brain just overloads and right? I've had this many times, and I know there are some teachers. I've taken Japanese lessons with quite a lot of different teachers, and there are some teachers who will try to teach me a word, like one word. And holy moly, they will go... There we go, I used it again. They will explain the word for like 10 minutes. They will give me 50 example sentences and explain every single nuance, right? Like they will say, okay, you can use it in this situation, but be careful here. And then I'm just like, oh, it's too much. What was the word again? Right? And I do sometimes do this. Sometimes I give too many examples. So that's something I need to work on as well. But yeah, anyway, being a good speaker, there's a lot of things to think about that are not just language. But anyway, sorry, that was my teaching experience. It's not really something that you guys can probably relate to, unless you're a teacher. Anyway, what were we talking about? Any questions? Anybody? Not cool. True. Yeah. What are you agreeing with? Nots? I forgot what I said. This is the problem with streaming. I'll read a comment, but sometimes I don't know which thing they are reacting to. Anyway, we have a few more minutes. Let's do another question. But if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer as well. Okay, so let's cross this off. Let's do maybe one more question. Last one. Ooh. Let's see. Before I answer this question, Milky asks... Oops, sorry. Milky asks, what word was your new Japanese word? What do you mean? Do you mean what is the newest Japanese word I've learned recently? Is that what you're asking? If that is your question, what was I... yesterday I had a Japanese lesson and we were talking about like Harry Potter, the dramas and movies, and we were talking about people who like look... How do I explain? English doesn't have this phrase, but I'll just say 形から入るタイプ. Okay? I'm not going to explain it, but that was the phrase I learned. Anyway, the question was, video games are a waste of time. Agree or disagree? What do you guys think? Quick question, Nots, do you have any chat in Hello Talk? Yeah, I have a lot of people talking in Hello Talk, actually, Nots. It's like 43 people right now. In YouTube, it's just you. because I've just started on YouTube. But yeah, what was it? So video games, are they a waste of time? Agree or disagree? Do you guys think it's a waste of time? I don't think it's a waste of time. I think it's just a hobby. It's a great way to enjoy, enjoy spending time. And it can even be a social event. Actually, I sometimes play video games online with my friends. And often, while we are playing the game, we just small talk. How's work? How is everything? You doing okay? But without video games, of course, we meet in real life, but sometimes we're busy, sometimes we have to stay at home, or we don't have much free time, just 1 hour. And this is when meeting up online is very convenient. It's just like Zoom. You press a few buttons, click, 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 bam, we're talking. Yeah? You just have to organize a time, really. Recently, one of my favorite websites recently that I found was, if you like board or card games, Board Game Arena is a great website. It's for free. A lot of the good or expensive games you have to pay for, but it's very cheap. It's like £2 a month, 300 yen, 400 yen a month. And you have access to everything. And you can invite your friends, you can play board games, and there are lots of tutorials, and you can just play board games online with your friends. Maybe some of you have heard, there's Catan, a very famous one. Do they have Monopoly? I'm not sure. But anyway, I really like this kind of activity, just talking together, doing something together. It's just a nice way to relax. Yeah. What about you guys? Do you like board games, card games, or video games? What was it? I think video games are good for your brain. Oh, very good. Yeah. There can be puzzle solving, especially these board games can be really complex. Like some of them take hours to learn. Like they're so complicated, but I do like complicated games. Like there's one game where you have to colonize Mars. You have to build and increase the temperature, increase the oxygen. You build things. It's a lot of decisions and building, but it's a great game. It always confuses me. Parents who don't play many video games or don't have experience, they will often say like, oh, video games are bad for you, it's a waste of time. But movies are okay. And I think my brain doesn't work when I'm watching a movie. Or rather, I don't have to use my brain when I'm watching a movie. But, as I said just earlier, when I'm with friends or when I'm playing a difficult game that has a lot of puzzles, I'm talking, I'm communicating, we're working together, we're fighting against each other, and we're having fun memories. Some of my best memories comes from playing games with my friends, yeah? So, I don't think movies are, better or worse than video games. It's just a different fun hobby. But people who say it's a waste of time, I think they look at people who are addicted. Yeah. Being addicted to anything is bad, right? If you're playing video games and you're not studying or you never go outside, then yeah, of course it's bad. But it's not that video games are bad, it's just that you don't have self-control, right? So, I don't know. I strongly disagree that video games are a waste of time. But yeah, An says it's a waste of time for you. Yeah, for you, that might be okay. If you're not a big fan, you don't enjoy it, then that's totally fine. Yeah. Some people think if your hobby is not useful, then it's a waste of time. If it's just fun, it's a waste of time. I disagree. But that's just me. Ball games. Ball games. So sports. Yeah, ball games are good. I think for your health, sports definitely better. You know, if I play video games on my PC, I'm not doing any exercise, right? I do go to the gym, but again, if you don't enjoy sports, you shouldn't force yourself. But I think you should try to do some exercise for your health, especially as we get older. The other day, I felt really old because I was washing the dishes, and then I was putting the dishes in the cupboard, and I bent down, and then suddenly a muscle in my back, I pulled a muscle. I was like, oh! And then I was just putting away the dishes, and I was like, oh, I feel so old. Oh. And then my brother pulled his back when he was walking down the stairs just randomly. Like, ooh, feel old sometimes. I am old. Am I old? 29? Is that old? What do you guys think? I don't know. But anyway. But I'm just reading, sorry. Knots. It's the same thing as hobby. If one person wants to play, that's normal. True. It's the same as speed cubing or pen spinning. It's just wasting your time. True, yeah. There are some people who have really unique or specific hobbies, like world record speed cubing, that is solving the Rubik's Cube very quickly. Okay, it might not be the most useful skill. If it's fun, if you get into a community and find friends, join a group, why not? Do it. Other people might say, oh, that's weird, that's nerdy, this is gross. Oh, whatever, I don't need those kinds of friends, right? I don't need people who judge others for their hobbies. Like, just enjoy life. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting quite aggressive about this. Anyway, trying anything is very good. Yeah, exactly, Noki. You know, trying new hobbies. One phrase we often use is, where's the phrase? Web. Don't. I feel like this might be American. Don't knock it till you try it. Okay? This basically means try first, judge later. Yeah. This is a classic that we use with children. Imagine your child doesn't want to eat broccoli, but they've never tried it. And they say, Ma'am, I don't like broccoli. And then you're like, have you tried it? It's like, no, but it looks weird. And it's like, just put it in your mouth, try it, and if you don't like it, that's okay. But don't tell me you don't like it if you haven't tried it. Why do I feel like I'm already a parent? I don't have a child, but anyway. But yeah. What was it? So yeah, don't knock it till you try it. Yeah. Try it first and then judge it later. But yeah. And then playing musical instruments, very good. Yeah. Music. I don't know why, but music seems like a more acceptable hobby than something like, I don't know, Sudoku. Is Sudoku a hobby? Yeah, Sudoku's a hobby, why not? Or like, I don't know, going to the pub or something. I guess it's because musicians are very cool and like, they're very attractive. Is it a practical skill? I don't know if I would say it's a practical skill, but it is very cool and very useful if you want to be a musician, of course, or like, you know, become famous in the future or something like that. But anyway, so dark. What's so dark? Me? The story? What's dark? Anyway. But yeah. So, why don't we do... I said one more question. Should I do one more question? I don't know. Okay, right. Let's do one more. Holy moly. Outside. Did you hear that? Outside. I heard a gust of wind. It was like... whoosh. Oh my. Scary stuff. Oh, in the UK, it's always raining. Where is my tab? Here we go. All right, let's do last one. I promise this is the last one because I really need to go to the toilet. I drank too much tea. Oh, do you have a pet? It's kind of a boring question. Okay, cancel. Okay, I will quickly answer. Do I have a pet? No, I don't, but I would really love a Shiba Inu, a Japanese breeded dog. They're just so cute, so fluffy, and they're so loyal. Oh, I love dogs. But I have an allergy to dogs. It's so sad, right? Oh, I love dogs so much, but anyway. Has my screen frozen? Yeah. Can you guys see me on Hello Talk? Because it looks like it's frozen to me. But anyway, yeah, I love dogs so much. But I'm allergic, so I can't. Yeah, it's frozen. I thought so. 1 second. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So, yes. I love dogs, but I have a dog and cat hair allergy, so I can't have one. I'm so sad. So sad. Anyway, do you guys like dogs? Cats? Do you have any other pets, like turtles or goldfish or any exotic pets? Anything? But anyway, let's have a look at one final question. What do you think about fashion? Oh, but actually this one's quite interesting as well. Can I change it? Yeah, it's my stream. Get out of here. Okay, let's do this one. My choice. Sorry. Okay, I'll quickly do the other one. What do you think about fashion? I think it's good. Like, again, first impressions, looking professional. If you're meeting someone for the first time, you don't want to just wear a random set of clothes, right? So I think fashion becomes especially important if you care about your self-image or if you're a public figure. That is, YouTuber, newscaster, or just anybody that is being watched by people. Because again, image is everything. Image is not just the clothes you wear, but it's also how you act, your behavior, your ability, and things like that, right? But fashion is a big part of your image, right? So before I didn't care, but I think it's quite important now. But the problem is, I care about it because it's connected to my image, but I'm not fascinated by fashion. I don't enjoy finding new outfits and buying new clothes to put together. It's not something I'm super passionate about, but I can see why some people love it. But anyway, what about you guys? Fashion is fun. Yeah, I think it is fun for a lot of people. I don't know why I don't really like it or find it fun. But sometimes I do see like, oh, that looks quite nice. And then when I put it on, I feel a bit better about myself. I'm not a fan of my face, but I can't change my face, right? So I can change the clothes I wear and look a bit more professional. So it can be fun. It's too much work. I don't know what to do. I don't know what clothes to do. One funny story I have. Hi, Yulia. When I was living in a share house in Japan, again, my feet are freezing. In my share house, there were a lot of different people. There were Africans, Indians, Japanese, Chinese, Korean, and so on. And I became good friends with a lot of them. And one day, I was asking one of the girls for fashion advice. I was like, I don't know what colors to choose. I like purple as a color, but purple is not a color that you really wear. And then she said, Eric, you're my son. She was older than me. Not really my son, but just as a joke. She's like, you're my son. It's time for you to grow up and learn about adult fashion. And I was like, what is that? Isn't fashion fashion? What is adult fashion? I was like, no. You don't understand. Let me teach you. And then the next day, she gathered like 3 other girls to, what was it, go out with me shopping. Yeah, so there were 4 girls and me shopping for clothes in Uniqlo, or Japanese, well, is it Japanese, American? I don't know, brand. I was in the store, and all of them, I was like this dress-up doll, like this mannequin, and all of them were like going around getting different clothes, and they were like putting it on me. They were like, what do you think? They look good? And then they were having this discussion without me. Like, my input was not important. So they're like, you think this looks good? It's like, it makes him look a bit too old. He looks young, right? So we need a younger color. And, you know, they were doing lots of things. And I was just standing here like, how long? Can we go sit? No? Okay. I was just sitting there. And no, I'm exaggerating a bit. Of course, they did ask me, do you like this color? They were super nice and kind about it. And actually, this cardigan, sweater, whatever, this green, I don't like this color. However, they said it suits me. Okay, this green suits your facial complexion, your skin color. And I was like, this green looks like snot or like, I don't know, vomit. And they were like, don't say that, that's gross. And I was like, but to me, this doesn't look like a nice color. But again, I don't know anything about fashion, so but yeah, they helped me a lot with choosing fashion, and yeah, fashion is good. Completely off topic. I'm sorry guys, I'm a bit boring, I know. Anyway, let's go back to the next question. I think fashion is fun. It can be fun. Sometimes for other people more than yourself. Right, the last one. I promise. How often do you think you should message friends? I'm just going to quickly read. My friend will find out about a cosplayer girlfriend. Interesting. Milky says you can change your face with clothes and hair. Ah, I know what you mean. Yeah. You can't change your face physically, but yeah, by changing your hairstyle and your clothes, your face will kind of look different. I know what you mean, Milky. Yeah, that makes sense. I think haircut is a big deal, or a big thing that affects your appearance, right? For me, that's another thing. I don't like putting stuff in my hair. And actually before, I would always, every single time, I would comb my hair up like this, right? But recently, my, how do I say it? My friend suggested that I have it down like this. Now, it's not well styled right now, but if I make this bit a bit messy and a bit of texture, a bit of volume, it looks a bit more interesting, or something like that. But today, I just do this because it's easier. I don't like the hair going down on my face. Anyway, so back to the question. How often do you think you should message friends? Texting is hard because there's texting friends, then there's texting like people you don't know so well, like acquaintances or co-workers, and then there's texting like, I don't know, a romantic partner or somebody you're interested in. Like, I don't know, lots of people use Tinder or whatever these days. And a big debate is, when is the best time to reply, and how often should you message? For example, if you're interested in a boy or a girl and they send you a message, should you reply instantly? So let's say I'm doing the live stream and I'm like, oh, message. And then 5 seconds later, you get a reply. And the person thinks, That was quick. Sometimes I've heard, again, I'm no love guru, I'm not a love expert, but apparently, according to my expert friends, they say that it's not good to reply too quickly because it shows that you're needy or too interested, right? Nobody, I think, likes a person that is like coming onto you too strong. Yeah. If anybody comes to you, even if you like them and you're kind of interested, if they come to you, oh, I love your hair, you look so good, like, oh, you're amazing. It's just too much. Too strong. Yeah. Oh, there was a name for this phenomenon. It's like when you're chasing someone, or what was it? Yeah. When you're chasing someone, it's okay. But the moment things turn around and they start chasing you, it's like, ooh, I don't feel so good. They're not so attractive anymore. And this is why a common drama character type is the cold, cool, distant person that secretly has a soft, kind side, right? And they like them, they're cool because, you know, they're distant, they're not chasing you, and you're trying to get them. They're that really difficult to get. I don't want to say object, they're not a thing, but it's a hard challenge. Something like that. I don't think I really explained that well, but there we go. We have, what was it? Teacher Stephanie says half an hour. Interesting. I think half an hour could be pretty good, yeah. But again, like, sometimes you can bond, or how do I say it? You can get very close to somebody by texting them and having a real-time conversation. That is, you're both replying instantly, right? But you can't always do this, but sometimes, you know, it's late at night, you're both in bed, you're not a couple, but you have a lot of things in common and you're getting close. Like, oh, that's nice, right? But with somebody you just met, don't be too pushy or too quick to reply. That's what I've heard. What do you guys think? Christy says, really? That's what I hear. But I think you won't understand how friendship works in my country. We are able to not chat. Oh, you mean we're not able to chat more than 2 to 4 years and still be friends? Interesting. I think he's saying that it's hard to maintain a relationship through text for more than 2, 3, or 4 years. It's difficult, isn't it? When you're trying to keep in touch with friends, you know, you were previous ex-colleagues or classmates, but naturally people drift apart. Yeah. Let me quickly write some of these phrases. People naturally drift apart, right? We have work, we have families, we travel and go to work in different countries. Texting is a good way to keep in touch. And many people feel that if you don't text often, you're not good friends. Or if you don't text in 2 years, you're not friends at all, or something like that. But I'm not sure I agree. I don't think that's always true. It's common. The way I see friendship and how close we are is if we, for example, haven't spoken in a year, and then suddenly one day we have a video call or something like that, how comfortable do I feel with this person? Often, you will feel or find that when you talk to an old friend who you haven't spoken to in ages, you feel, wow, it feels like I just spoke to this person yesterday, right? I don't know if you've ever felt this, but it's like, it feels like I've spoken to them yesterday. It hasn't been 2 years. It feels so natural. And I think that is a sign that you are very close, or comfortable to this person. Sorry, comfortable with this person. And that is probably a friend that you don't want to lose. Now, of course, everybody is busy, but I try to, how do I say it, be proactive. And I'm usually the one that messages my friends. I just say, hey, how's it going? Like once every half year sometimes, just when I remember. Say, hey, how's it going? Are you okay? How's the work and everything? I will do this a few times, and then after like the third time, like they reply, but they never start a conversation. After 2 or 3 times, I feel like, okay, maybe they are not so interested in me, and that's okay. I'm going to stop messaging them. Because I feel like if they were really interested in me and wanted to keep in touch, they would message me. And of course, it's just too difficult to keep in touch with too many different people. For me, I get tired with keeping in touch with family and friends. I have so many cousins, and like my family, I have like 5 aunties, 3 uncles, and I have so many group chats. It's just, it's exhausting. So I would say, don't push yourself to like try and stay in touch with everyone, but think about the people you think you want to be close to and make an effort to talk to them. But if they don't return that same effort, if they never start a conversation with you, just like Frozen, let it go, right? Because it's just too exhausting. You've got time, you've got energy, and you need to take care of yourself as well, right? So yeah. But I know it's difficult to let something go. It's difficult to let relationships go. But yeah. And what was I saying? Forgot. But anyway, yes, that was it. So questions or comments. Half an hour, really. How to avoid toxic friends? That's a good point. Yeah, sometimes toxic friends. Wait, if they're toxic, are they your friends? By the way, guys, toxic means like an unhealthy relationship. We often say toxic relationship. Yeah, like physical, verbal abuse, gaslighting, arguments, all this stuff. Unhealthy, in other words. Oh, I can't spell, typo. Alright. Unhealthy relationship. Okay? Don't talk to them. That is right, August. They are not worth your time. You don't need to. I've tried multiple times, but I think, how are you talking about people that you spend a lot of time with, like co-workers or classmates, like people you can't avoid because you see them often? Or are you talking about like cutting off, like ending your relationship with friends? Just avoid meeting or seeing them. Yeah, I would agree with August, but if you're co-workers or classmates, then you might not be able to do that. In school, I also had problems with like bullying and things like that, and I couldn't really avoid my bullies because we went to the same school and had the same classes. So I can relate. It's not always just as simple as don't talk to the person. But yeah. Anyway, so I think that is mostly it. Do we have any more interesting questions? Let's have a look. I can't change it. What's the most blah 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 important quality, favorite thing about traveling? I think the only question left for today is probably this one. What is your favorite thing about traveling? Man, I made 18 questions today. I was like, oh, just in case, I'll make some extra questions. It's already 2.5 hours. I can't believe I've been... Time flies. Oh my gosh. There you go. Time flies is a great phrase. Sorry, I didn't show the question. Time flies is a great phrase to use. I'm sure all of you already know this. Time flies. Okay, right. Let's do one more question and then we'll do a review of all of these notes that we have for today. Okay? Just avoid meeting or seeing them. What is my favorite thing about traveling? What about you guys? For me, many people like seeing places, right? The beautiful ocean, what was it? The mountains, hiking, wonderful shrines, temples, and I do love those things once in a while. But the thing that stays in my memory the longest, the happiest memories I have when traveling are always related to the people. This is why I love Japan, but also if I went to work in Korea, I'm sure I would love Korea in the same way. When I make connections with the locals and the people, not just locals, other, even if they're from America or anyone, traveling means you get to go out of your comfort zone and meet new people, right? And for me, if I didn't have my friends, I would probably be dead. Or rather, I would just be this empty shell with no life inside of me. Like, I'm so thankful to my friends, especially during COVID and things like that. I had a lot of people to talk to. On weekends, I do a lot of language exchanges, so they help me with my Japanese. I do board games with my other friends. So going to other countries and learning about the culture by meeting people, that is my favorite thing, and that is why I love learning languages. It's so that I can connect with people. But yeah, that's my answer. But yeah, okay. Not says, can I make a question for your next stream? Interesting. Yeah, you can. What was it? I don't know if you can add the question, but if you just ask the question in the chat, then I will read it out and I'll answer it. So yeah, go ahead. Christy says, both us from the same class. You were talking about toxic relationships. Yeah, if you're from the same class, it's not easy. If you can, find another group outside of class, like a club, a society. I don't know if you're in high school or university. I don't think you'll be able to avoid them if you're in the same class. But if you can find another group to support you mentally so that you can enjoy and forget about these horrible people, that will keep you mentally healthy. If it's very serious, like there's bullying and things like that, definitely tell someone, a teacher, and maybe tell them, keep it a secret. It's difficult because, again, I don't know the specific situation. But yeah, definitely find new hobbies, try new things, and hopefully you'll find a new friend group. And then if it gets very serious, I would tell your teacher. They should do something about it. But anyway, Milky, new place, new food, new people. New is exciting for me, definitely. Yeah. Trying new things is just, it's good for growing as a person, but also just because variety is the spice of life. Doing the same thing, we get bored. Talk to new people, yeah. It's good to have friends and the same people you talk to, but also don't be afraid to go out and meet more people. But yeah, you can never have too many friends, I feel. Kind of. Anyway, so I'm going to finish for today, but before we finish, I'm going to talk, let's review a few things in today's vocabulary. Okay, so let me make my screen big. Alright, so we have a lot of phrases here. I'm going to quickly scroll through this slowly, okay? And then I'm going to ask a question, and you will tell me the phrase or the word that I'm looking for, okay? So let's just quickly go through these. So, important, essential, anthology, gut feeling, it's not black or white, mixed schools, boys' schools. You probably don't need to need these. Greed is quite a common word. Yeah, doom scrolling, good. Empathy, to put yourself, to put yourself in someone else's shoes. To relate to someone. To be similar, to take after your parents. Tiger, helicopter mom. To set a good or a bad example. You don't need to know this, but easy peasy, holy moly. Don't knock it till you try it. People drift apart. Toxic relationship. And time flies. Right. I need to cancel. Oh, no, it's not showing. Good. Test time. And this is when you guys are going to type your answers in the chat. My first question. Oh, actually, I need to cancel because if I bring it up, then you can see it, right? So, 1 second. Where's the controls? Where is it? Oh no, I've lost it. Give me a second. It's this one. Okay, right. First question. What do we call a parent, usually a mother, who is a bit too strict, who's always watching you and always behind your back, like, don't use your phone too much, or something like that? What kind of person do we call this? Any idea? Anybody? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have, very good, August. This is a helicopter mom. Very nice, well done. And did anyone write it in YouTube as well? Sorry, too many windows. But very good, well done. Yes, that's right, not helicopter, helicopter. Oh, you're talking about that song. Anyway, next question. The ability to understand someone's feelings because you've had something similar. What do we call this? One word. It's a noun. One word. August. That's very good. That's a verb. Very good. Okay. The word is empathy. Empathy. Okay? That is to help someone by understanding their feelings. Okay? Empathy. Empathy is essential for making good relationships. Bonus question. A part of empathy is imagining yourself in their position. If I were you, I would... What's another phrase, an idiom, meaning if I were you? You know, oh, it's the same in Russian. Interesting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Yeah, if I put myself in your shoes, if if I were you. Okay, very good, well done, good job, guys. Okay, and then August said relate to. To relate to someone is basically the verb form of empathy. Yeah, I empathize with you. It's a bit formal, so we normally say I relate to you, or I understand your feelings, or something like that. Okay, so I can relate to you. We also say I can relate to a story, like a good movie, like the main character, he's very shy, very weak. I think many of us can relate to this kind of character. Yeah, we understand that character because we were weak or shy. Yeah, very good. All right, next question. What is the problem with the word respectiveness? Respectiveness. What's the problem? Or what is the correct word? Respectiveness. Should I write it out? Anybody? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Respectiveness is actually not a word. We would say respect. That is the noun form. Okay? But don't worry. What was it? I think respect is also a verb, actually. So be very careful. It's a verb and a noun. Yeah? What was it? I have a lot of respect for him. I respect him a lot. Okay? You can use it in these ways. And by the way, noun forms, I have a lot of respect for him. These usually make a sentence more formal because usually those sentences are longer. Okay? Longer sentences, usually more formal. Nouns, we usually use them in longer sentences. Okay? So if you're trying to decide, do I want to be a bit more casual? Use the verb. Okay? Right. So let's move on. Okay. What am I doing now? What am I doing? Any ideas? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am scrolling. Very good, Chia. Very good. Not well done. I am scrolling on my mouse. Ah, wrong saying. Okay, right. Next question. When I'm surprised, I've used this quite a lot today, but when I was surprised, for example, Knots was 15 years old, I was like, you're 15? What did I say? What phrase did I use? Any ideas? 2 words. Very good, Knots. Well done. Yeah. So everybody has been saying Holly Molly. Close. It's holy moly. Only 1 L. Okay? Holy moly. Okay? Holly Molly. Holly is a plant and Molly is a name. Moly is not a word, but yeah, anyway, holy moly. Yeah? So just be careful. Okay, good stuff. Well done, guys. Well done. And the next question. What do we call a school where only boys go to? What do we call a school that only has 1 gender? Any ideas? No one? Eton College, that's the name of a specific school, very famous. If you've watched Spy Family, if you're a fan of anime, the school was based on Eton College. we would call it an all girls or all boys school, or you can say only boys, only girls school. Okay? Now the opposite, if there are both boys and girls, most schools are like this. What do we call it when there are boys and girls? Any ideas? Oh, I saw the answer. Very well done. Eri, August, and Knots, we do say co-ed or mixed schools, okay? Let me show you here. Co-ed, mixed schools are the correct answers. Well done. All right, next question. This one's a bit difficult because we're going back to the beginning, at the very early parts of this live stream. When you don't know, when it's difficult to know if something is right or wrong, we were talking about the teenagers. Should teenagers be punished in the same way as adults? I said, it depends on the situation, their family background. It's not or It's not or In other words, it's difficult to know right or wrong. Any ideas? And actually, I will be talking about this idiom in this next week's live stream. It's related to ethics and morality. Any ideas? It's not or Life is rarely or I'll give you a clue. These are colours. These are colours. Right or wrong. 3, 2, 1. Very well done. Chia, August, and Eddie, Milky. Everybody got it at the end. It's not black or white. Okay. Now, interestingly, if you reverse the phrase, it's not white or black. We know what you mean, but it sounds unnatural. Okay, so the order is important. Yeah? I can't remember. There's a special word for this, but remember the order. Because for these set phrases like A or B, A and B, if it's like a set phrase, often the order is important if you want to sound natural. But if you get it the wrong way round, if you reverse it, we know what you mean. It just sounds, we know, oh, he's not a native speaker. Okay? So if you want to be natural, black or white, not white or black. Okay? All right. And next question, just maybe 2 or 3 more. Important is a word that many people use. Yeah, it's a very basic level word. What is a higher level word, a synonym that's the same meaning but a bit more, a bit higher level? You want to impress your IELTS examiner. What's another word for important? Ooh. Turn this off. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We had these 2 words at the very beginning. August said crucial and vital. Those are actually 2 words that I didn't talk about, so really well done, August. Great vocabulary. I said essential or critical. Okay, again, these are both very similar to important. But let's add August's, what was it? Crucial and vital. Yeah. There's a tiny nuance difference, but I think if you use them in the same way, it's very difficult to go wrong. Yeah. So I would say if you're doing an IELTS exam and you want to level up your vocabulary, you know, just learn 2 or 3, just even 1 is enough. 1 or 2 synonyms for these common words, yeah? Important, essential, yeah? Hot, boiling, how to say it, smart, wise, or something like that, yeah? Just for the common adjectives, yeah? The ones that we use very often, okay? All right. And then let's do one more. When you have a feeling about someone, kind of like a first impression, but like when you feel like, for example, ooh, I can't say why, but this guy feels a bit suspicious, right? When you have a feeling inside your body that you can't quite explain or put into words, it's just your like first feeling. What do we call this? We would say a feeling. Ah, interesting. The answer is, very well done, Chia and August, a gut feeling. Okay? It's not quite the same as a first impression. A first impression is when you meet somebody for the first time and it's your like general idea. It's your opinion of that person. But a gut feeling is just a feeling about anything. It can be a situation. It can be about, I don't know, yeah, a person or something like that. Like, for example, let's say you're, I don't know, I've been watching too many crime dramas recently. At the crime scene, you see lots of items and there are lots of evidence, and you look and you think, I don't know, I have a gut, it's just a gut feeling, but I feel like the letter is important. I can't say why, but I have a gut feeling that the letter is important. It's like, an unexplainable feeling, okay? Intuition was a good word from EBS. It's kind of like intuition, yeah. If you have a good intuition, this means your gut feeling will be usually on the right track. Pretty accurate, okay? All right, I think that's it. I'm going to post these notes on my YouTube posts and moments, so you can review it later or add your own notes. And yeah, please do try to, make your own example sentences and things like that. Okay. Does anyone have any final questions before I go and take a nap? Because I'm exhausted. I woke up too early this morning. Actually, I'm really hungry. Any questions? Cringe. What's cringe? No more questions? Okay. Why are so many people watching? What are you guys doing? Are there no other famous streamers or live streamers on right now? No. I'm very thankful. Thank you guys for coming to the stream and watching and, taking part. It's so fun to talk to you guys, and you guys always teach me a lot about your culture. But yeah, it's just great. Thank you so much. Any final questions? No? All good? Thank you, August. No, I'm glad that it's helpful to you all. Sometimes I feel, because again, today was just a free talk, just talking about random topics, I didn't know if it would be useful to everyone, compared to my normal presentation lessons. But yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, and maybe I'll do a lot more of these in the future. Okay. But yeah, maybe I can do one presentation lesson and one free talk lesson like this every week, but we'll see. I need to take care of myself as well, because it's quite exhausting. Like, what, 3 hours now? Oof. When is the next stream, Nuts? It will probably be on Saturday, this next coming Saturday. What is the date? It is... Discard changes. Today is the 23rd, so it would be the 1st of March. It's already March! Oh, time flies. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so yeah, the next stream will be on March the 1st, in March. And I'll be talking about ethics and moral dilemmas. We're going to have some deep talks about, black and white, what's right and wrong, good and evil. And we're going to talk about some controversial topics, some spicy topics, yeah? So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can join on Saturday at probably 12:30 p.m. UK time. But again, I will make a post, I will make an announcement before, maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday, okay? So that's the next stream. I think that was about it. If you guys, for the people who came late in the stream, there's a link, you can see the Google Drive. This is a link to my previous presentation lessons. So if you took part and you just want to review the phrasal verbs, the vocabulary, you can download those in the Google Drive folder. Okay. All right. And then just a few questions. Do you often do this Q&A? I didn't, because I thought it would be very boring, and I didn't think many people would join. But right now we have like 80 people, which is nuts. Nuts is a good word for crazy. I'm nuts. This is nuts. But yeah, okay. No worries, Knots. Again, I'll be recording these live streams, so if you can't join, no worries. You should be able to watch it later, okay? But thank you for joining. And tomorrow, it's Christmas again. Wait, tomorrow? What do you mean tomorrow it's Christmas? I will not be streaming tomorrow. It's too much. I've got work. I've got my Monday to Friday. I have my private one-on-one lessons. And I'm making the presentations. Okay. All right. So we had another person in YouTube actually, there's more than one person in YouTube. It says there are 4. Well, to you 4 people on YouTube, hello. Thank you very much for joining. And you 80 people on Hello Talk, hello. Thank you for joining. And I need to go to the toilet now so bad. And I'm gonna wet myself if I don't go soon. So thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate, you joining. It was so fun. And I will see you next Saturday. Good luck with work and all of your other stuff. And I'll see you soon. Okay? Bye. So that's Hello Talk. Now I have to say goodbye to YouTube. Wait, this one, yeah. All right. See you guys. Thank you for joining.